This video shows how to mount cable string reliefs into the CG-1500 and the HC-2500 enclosure. Now, these string reliefs are used usually for data cables or pigtails, but they can also be used for items such as power cables or other custom uses. Now, this particular clamp is a 1-inch clamp, and we do also offer a 3/4 inch clamp. Typically, this clamp will hold 8 to 10 cables, and the 3/4 inch cable clamp is designed for 4 output units holding 4 to 6 types of cables. Now, of course, that all depends on the diameter of the cable. Now, let's first start with just mounting them. Now, in the 1500 or CG-1500, we actually have to drill a hole. There are no pre-drilled holes in here. There are some slots, but those aren't sufficient for string relieving, and you do want a string relief on a cable because we know you're going to grab that cable and carry it around with that. We don't want it to pull out any of your electronic connections. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is get a hole in here. Now, we've already put one clamp in here. You can see it over here on the right. And we're just going to take our drill. In this case, we just have a standard hole saw with a pilot hole in there. And in this unit, we're going to be mounting a 16 output controller, so we're going to put it directly over the center here and here. So, what I'm going to do is go ahead and locate that. Alright, so I've drilled my hole. Just pull out some of this extra leftovers. And you can see now we have our hole. It's just right below these two cable outlets. Alright, now what we're going to do, go ahead, remove our ring, securing ring, put it on the back side here, and then I'm going to simply just attach this. Now, typically, we're going to want the screw clamps going down because if we flip them around, they'll hit the lid as the lid comes down on the 1500. So we generally want these screws to be at the bottom. Now, we're going to hand tighten it, and it's going to get tight at some point. So now it's facing all the way down. I don't want it that way. I want to actually put some tension on it. So I'm going to actually back it up, and I'm going to make this a little tighter. And I'm going to, again, tighten it. You can see by hand, I can't get it perfectly level. Now, my favorite way is to use just a screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver or a flat blade, and put it in here, lodge it between this back screw and this front screw, and simply just turn it until we get it to line up. And you can see it's lined up, and it's nice and tight. Now we're ready to clamp our cables. Now, that's how we do the 1500. The HC-2500 enclosure. Now, this enclosure does come in a different version. It comes in 2 ways, which is shown here as an open bottom. Now, open bottom typically will come with a pre-drilled hole. This allows you to not have to drill. It's already predefined. So if you have a common enclosure, a common controller, such as the Alpha Picks, Easy Picks, Falcon, any of these other brands, we typically have a kit that will match that. That means these holes have been perfectly placed exactly where they need to be to get all the pieces to line up. Now, you can also purchase this enclosure with a blank plate that has no pre-drilled holes in it. In that case, you would just simply be drilling like we would with the 1500 for custom uses. Or you may have purchased this as a flat bottom, not an open bottom, and this area is completely filled with material. And just like the 1500, you would need to drill your holes appropriately. Of course, when you're drilling your holes, plan everything out, make sure where everything is going to go before you put it in. Alright, now, and this particular one, we can't actually put it in before we put it into the enclosure. Now, it's important to note that typically what we'll have is that the writing, if your adapter plate has writing, it will be facing towards the bottom of the plate. And this one does, and so we put it in here. Just double check it, make sure that the holes align up here, and they should, and that's the direction we're going. Now, this is our power cable, data, Cat5 dongle, or dangle, and another data cable. Now, I'm going to take this out and show you how we're going to do this one. Now, on the 1500, we did put the cable connectors on the outside because it's constrained on space. A lot more space on the 2500. So we're actually going to put this on the inside. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this here and put the clamp on the inside. And in this particular case, where we had the 1500, we had the screws going down. We obviously can't reach the screws if they're already in there. But typically what we're going to have is we're going to have the cables, clamps facing upward. So what I've got here, you can see I've got it in there slightly. And I'm going to show you a different method you can use to tighten this up. I'm going to use just some channel locks. And I'm just simply going to turn it. So some people might prefer this method. Now you can see that I've got this facing upward. And now I can simply slide it in there. And then when I put my screws in to hold this on, we're good to go. Also, this keeps it flusher at the bottom. And there's our completed piece. And this is how you install the clamps into a CG-1500 or a HC-2500.